I understand we have some media here today on camera as well as Facebook Live. Is that correct, Scott? So we're ready to roll with that. Everybody else is. I'm Tony Brewer, I'm the chairperson of the Benton County Industrial Board, and we just can't thank everyone enough for being here today. It's an exciting day for Benton County, an exciting day for West Tennessee, we believe. And the efforts that everyone has put into this is just strictly awesome. I was talking to someone yesterday. We haven't had this much to do since we had the Greater Building Better School program back in the 90s when I was on the school board. That was an exciting time, but this kind of ices the cake for all that. I want to introduce some folks as we move along, and there's such a great crowd here. I was just telling Jennifer that I had to walk this far from the parking lot since the SDG meetings at the Capitol building. So it's great to see the parking lot full, and thank you so much for everyone being here. But before I introduce anybody as far as that goes, the thing about the folks that are here today, not just the board, but all the people that are involved, and I always try to take this with me, that everyone in this group and everyone in this room has been positive, and that's what we had asked for. I think everyone knows their role, and the role that each one of you have had in this is very important. And what do the citizens want? And we always hear about Benton County want to do better in industry and better jobs. And how do we get there? So folks, this is a major step on how we've gotten there. And once again, it's just a great day for us and everyone involved, and it's TVA and the state and the county commissioners and what have you. At this time, I'm going to ask you to stand. For fear of not knowing everyone's name, I do want to recognize first the industrial board members that are here today. I see John Beasley, if you would stand. Kenny Arnold, if you would. Who else am I looking for here? Jeff Belisle's here. Who am I missing? I can't see everybody in the back. Is there anyone else on the industrial board? And thank you all for being here today, and once again, it's a pleasure to have served with you on the board. Just can't say enough about the role that you've played. I'd like to thank the Benton County Electric Board. and staff for use of the facility. Obviously, we use it a lot, and we appreciate the technical assistance, the food, who got all this together. Make sure don't leave it there when you leave out, or if you want to take a snack as we move along, feel free to do so. I'd also like to introduce local, state, and federal elected officials. And we've got several of you folks here. I don't know all of you by name, but if you're with a local, state, and federal elected officials, I'd ask you that to stand. I see some of our county commissioners. I'll include those also. Rocky, Mr. Fowler, back in the back. Anybody that I'm missing? Or Roseanne's here, I believe somewhere. There she is. Appreciate you being here. Anyone else that I've missed as far as local, state, and federal elected officials, I appreciate it. Please have a seat. Just to give you a little bit of background, and are you the clicker today?
I'm your clicker.
Clicker today. The reason we're here today, largely the reason that I'll give you a little bit of history about this property, if I could. I think it was 2019 or 2020, when the industrial board at that time, and I believe the county mayor was involved also, we had this property on our mind, and we thought if we could get an option on it at that time, and it took us about a year to get an option, and we were paying Mr. Gerald Smith. We finally agreed to about a 5-year option with a 7-year extension, that we would be paying Mr. Smith this option, and hopefully at some day, and this day is today, that we'd be able to pay for this property. It is 565 acres that you see on the screen. The purchase price is about $1.7 million. I think we gave $29.99 per acre for that, because it just sounded better than $3,000, and Mr. Smith went along with that. There's also some timber rights involved that's being cruised for about $339,000 involved in that. The property itself is based between, if you're familiar with the racetrack, your local folks, out on 70 bypass and 70 there at the corner, you can see where that's located. So our contribution to that would be 5%. The property itself is the reason that we have gone along with a lot of folks, and they have gone along with us. You can see there in the middle, there's the racetrack, as you can see it. The Gerald Smith property, you can see the bypass and Highway 70. This has a strong set of strengths that includes the TVA power. I think we've got a 169 kV running through that, with natural gas on 2 sides, 2 large natural gas lines through there, and it's situated on 2 state highways. And just to add to that, and I don't know if someone's going to do that later about the railroad business, we went ahead and had a railroad study done. We felt like that there was folks coming in with RFIs, that some of them wanted to ask about the railroad, if it was going to be available, and some didn't. I know there was one company that came in and said they were interested in the railroad because it had a lot of small technical components, and they didn't want a lot of vibration in that area. So we went ahead and done that anyway. We got the railroad study completed, and can we announce about the other?
Sure.
The other option that we just recently signed involved the railroad. Obviously, when you're going down the railroad, you can't make a hard right-hand turn, so you have to gradually move in one direction slowly. So we were able to confirm an option for the property that has a railroad on it, and I haven't filed that just yet, but I will file it in the coming week, and we'll take care of that. So this whole project has just been an awesome perspective that we've been able to work through, and once again, just can't thank you enough. So if there's any questions, I want to introduce the mayor, and he's going to speak just for a minute, and he can take those hard questions. I don't know the mayor. There's the mayor right here. So Mayor Mark Ward.
Thank you. So I can't see like Tony. I don't know how he does that without glasses.
They're laying there.
So we all know that this is probably the biggest thing that's happened to Benton County in our lifetime. From the looks of the room, I know all of y'all know that. I don't know how much the public knows it, but go out and tell everyone. You don't have anything like this happen in a county, especially a small distressed county like Benton County, very often. So I am super excited about the progress that we've made and how we're going forward with this project. I'd like to thank the ECD, Kirby Lewis, Gill, Jana Helen, Tess Kyle. Any of y'all here today? Stand up and wave at everybody. These folks who would be getting this money, Stuart McWhorter, Commissioner of ECD, he's worked with us great. The governor has, so we just thank all of y'all for your help, because this is a game changer for Benton County. It will be going forward. TVA, do we have anybody here from TVA today? Chuck, you want to stand up and say hi? TVA and Chuck, they've done so much for us with these studies, telling us how much electricity is available. I don't know if Tony mentioned it or not, but we've got, 30 megawatts available straight through TVA on that lot. That's very important, because there's no lots in West Tennessee that's 200 acres plus that has that capability. And I firmly believe that this is one of the main reasons that this is an important site in West Tennessee, with what's going on with the Blue Oval and companies that need to locate within 80 miles of there. So we're blessed to have this. I wanted to go into one thing about the way this property is laid out. What's in blue, we're looking at about 167 acres, and that's what we want to develop. But it's important for our community to know that we have 400 acres there surrounding that property that we want to use for a buffer. And that's why we wanted to go in and get the timber rights, because the owner had it that he was going to be selling us his property, and if he come in and clear cut it before we bought it, then, it would kind of be stark. But if we have 400 acres as a buffer for all the citizens and all the people that are living and have businesses and all around it, that's going to be great. We'll leave those trees. We'll just cut about 200 acres there in the blue area, so we can get that developed. I just want everybody to know that we're thinking about the community, thinking about everything, trying to think about everything as we move forward. I want to thank the Benton County Commission. If it wasn't for all of you guys, the industrial board wouldn't have been able to do this project. I appreciate y'all working together and working with the industrial board, working with Jennifer and I. It means everything to me and my administration. Also with the Chamber of Commerce, I don't know if Lori's here or not, but she's helped out a whole lot on moving forward with this. So the potential buildings that could be going on this site, I can't give out a whole lot of information about that, but the state has said that we probably need to do the 167 acres to make this work. And this slide shows a 2 million square foot pad. That would be for one big industry. If we do that, you can see the footprints that it'll have. The pink line is the rail that's coming in. I was able to, with the industrial board, to secure land option on that property. It's about 120 acres that we would have to have. The rail study showed that we would have to have that to be able to get the rail into this site, and it's laid out perfect. It's just one owner, and he did sign the option with us for 2 years, so we have 2 years to make this project work if it's somebody that's wanting rail. But we've already done the study on the rail. We know how much it's going to cost. The railroad company says they're great to do it. They would love to do it. They want more customers. So there's another potential layout of 2 buildings, and you can see one of them's a 1 million square foot pad, and the other one's a 500 square foot building. All this can change depending on the needs and the desire of people who's wanting to come here. And I guess my next thing is the potential people who have actually expressed interest in this, and I am not going to put my foot in my mouth. I've already been told to not name names or certain things, so I'm going to ask Jennifer Wheatley, our #1 person that has made this happen. Jennifer, come on up. Jennifer's been going through some stuff, but I'm going to tell you, she's laying in her hospital bed 4 days before her surgery, calling me every single day. Do this, do that. I mean, she is absolutely amazing. Everything she's done since I've been in office, I want to say that this is probably the best thing that has happened to Benton County as far as getting a person in her position. And we couldn't ask for a better person. She's got all the contacts with the state. She knows everything that's going on. So, and one thing before I sat down, I wanted to thank Brett Lashley, the previous mayor, for having the foresight to work with the industrial board and get the option on this property. He saw what was gonna happen in the future, and he made that happen, and I wanna give him the credit that's due. But Jennifer will go over the rest of this with you guys, and thank everyone for coming. Thanks for your help. It's not gonna be something that's gonna happen tomorrow, but this is the first step in the right direction, and I appreciate everybody working with us and helping us along the way.
If you're a member of the Benton County Commission, you've already seen this slide, but I try to speak to them once a year and kind of keep them updated. Economic development operates on RFIs, which is requests for information. It generally comes from either TVA or the state of Tennessee. I don't know to whom I am replying. I just get a request which says, could you do 75 acres that has this kind of power, and we need that much water, and we need the other thing, and so we just answer cold. And the first year I was here, I think we did about 75 RFIs. Ford had just announced, and it was insane that year. This past year, we did about 25. And as an undeveloped piece of property, and it's just raw land sitting out there, probably over half of our RFIs involve the Smith property. So these are the companies that have expressed interest in Smith in the last year. The number one is always automotive. And a lot of times it's not just automotive. Sometimes it's real specific, and other times it's battery recycling, or battery this, or battery that. And we've had paper look there, textiles, metal stamping, flooring, and pool chemicals. Those are the most recent ones that have looked at the Smith property. And this is so important to us to get our hands on this property, to be ready when somebody says, could we bring you a bunch of jobs? It's just important, because if we aren't prepared, we get passed over. And that's what's happened to us for years. We're not prepared. And this will help us be prepared. And if we have not expressed it enough, we're getting almost $2 million from the state of Tennessee in a program called the Site Development Grant. And the day that Mark and I went to Nashville to beg for that money, I had a plan. I always have a plan. I got 2 or 3 plans. But my number one plan that day was that if I could get half of it from the state of Tennessee and get the other half from TVA, Chuck and I have known each other for 25 years, I was thinking that's how we'll get our hands on that money and get this property going. We were sitting there in our begging mode, and the assistant commissioner said, I just want you to understand, Jennifer, I can only do 95%. And I was just like, sold. And it turned out that night that the budget committee was meeting. And so Mark and I drove back from Nashville and landed straight in the courthouse just as the budget committee was meeting. And Phil Melton saw me and was like, oh, you got something on your mind. Do you want to talk first? And I'm like, yes, please. So for this $2 million purchase, Benton County gave the Industrial Development Board $100,000. That is a tremendous investment for this property. But the reality is, if you don't have that support from your commission, if you don't have an industrial development board that lets us pursue what we need to pursue and be where we need to be, the electric system, when we were finishing up our due diligence on this, there were borings that were needed to help determine the soil compaction. And if that soil won't take a 1,000,000 square foot concrete pad, there's no point in us being out there. Those are things we have to know. And we couldn't do the borings because we couldn't get into the property. It is the most overgrown thing you have ever seen. And Scott Owens said, no, we have to do them all. I said, well, I like the theory that we do them all, but I don't know how to get back. I said, the dude doing them tells me it can't be done. And he said, no, I'll go out and figure it out for you. So Scott sent a right-of-way crew out and made sure that we could get in and do the best testing we could. It's not just about a right-of-way crew, and it's not just about $100,000. It's about a sense of community cooperation. And Mark says nice things, and I appreciate it, and I really did call him every day while I was in the hospital. But this is a pleasure. It is absolutely my pleasure to do this job. But you cannot do it without cooperation from all the players. And economic development is the biggest team sport you can imagine. When I first took this job, I called Chuck Marquis and I'm like, I'm back. I've been doing tourism for Land Between the Lakes for 5 years. And he was like, cool, you need me to catch you up on anything? And I'm like, yeah, probably a lot. So let us answer any questions you might have. You'll come back up.
We'll do it together.
Okay, we'll do it together. Tony wants to answer no questions.
There is one question. How did you come about?
How did I come about?
I'll give everybody just a brief that the industrial board, and there's different members at that time, Venatti and some other folks down from Big Sandy. When this blew over again, some talk, we knew that as people, we all had different jobs. Everybody that's on the board has different jobs, full-time jobs. And we had been passed over for years because no one person could have the industrial and economic business on their minds full-time. So we investigated that, and we felt like we needed a full-time person, Sunday to Sunday, Jennifer. She called me also. She was on the phone right before heart surgery, giving me the rundown. So we investigated that, and through some information that we had, we felt like she might be on board, and she was. And I just offer her all the success that we've been able to do.
That's all a very kind way of Tony expressing that they hired me because I'm old. And I know people, you know. I might have gone to, well, where's Tessa? Tessa's boss, Jana, and I worked together at the Jackson, Tennessee Chamber of Commerce in 1986. So yeah, we know some folks from 100 years back. All right, no questions? You're totally good with the Smith property?
I would like to say one
Sure.
thing, if you don't mind. Who else here from the Big County Electric System? Scott, Justin? Well, we thank y'all so much for all the help you've done. It's been a whole lot. And Mayor Pafford, are you here? Stand up, Mayor. Roger Pafford, City of Camden Mayor, John Beasley, Superintendent of the Water Department. They've been so helpful, and we appreciate you guys. And the West Tennessee Public Utility District, we've got a couple of people here. Thank y'all for all the work y'all done. I know you've given us lots of information and showed us where all the pipes are and what we can do. So I just don't want to miss anyone. I appreciate all you guys. Appreciate Ryan Hall being here. I know he's taking notes, going to probably put some higher.
You build, we will come.
I'm just joking. Thank y'all for being here. Are there any questions?
I don't have a question, but I would like to point it out also that Jennifer is such an important person, and I would like to remind everybody that during our interim mayor's term, Randy Shannon, he had a lot to do with hiring her.
Yes, this has happened through 3 mayors.
Yes. I didn't want to leave him out because he played a big role in that.
Whoever did it, yeah. She's one of the biggest assets for Benton County. Everyone don't know it because she's always in her office and on the road going places, but she is one of the biggest assets for Benton County, and I really appreciate her. But thank y'all all for coming. Let's all work together and move forward and make this something that's gonna bring in lots of jobs for Benton County in the future. Thank you.
Any other refreshments, feel free.
Oh, me too.